Do you know ball? Do
Do you know
you know
ball?
ball? Do you know
Do
ball?
you know ball? Do you know ball?
Welcome back to episode 2 of Do You Know Ball. We're gonna hop straight in
Yes,
because we got a lot to talk about, a lot to
we
cover.
do. We do.
First things first, Yamamoto,
Yes.
right? It was
Yes.
reported that he wants to sign with a team that has a Japanese player on it. But I don't know if you saw there's in later things that came out from his agent. That's not true. That's not true. He's willing to play for any team in the league. It's just a matter of contract. I don't know. What's your take on it?
So, I personally think it's going to be whatever team offers Yamamoto the biggest contract. I see a lot of things that says he's intrigued with the Yankees. I think him and Kyle Higashioka could honestly make a great, you know, a good 1-2 punch if he really wants to pair up with Higgy. If he's very dead set on pairing up with the Japanese player, him and Higgy, like I said, they'll be great. But other than that, close with Darvish, close with Masataka Yoshida. Um, my reports tell me that maybe he go to the Mets. I don't see why he would want to. It's not the ideal situation to go to as a free agent, but I think he's a very big free agent. Steve Cohen has the biggest bank account of all time, and he could very well go to the Mets.
Dude, I'm gonna fry you on this first topic. I'm gonna fry you on this first topic. You guys need pitching, but you don't need that ace. You guys don't need that ace. You do not need Yamamoto as much as the Mets need Yamamoto. The
Oh
Mets
no,
have
you're absolutely
Senga.
right.
The Mets have Senga, and
That's
that's
it.
pretty much it.
That's it. No, you're
We,
absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
yeah, I am right. We
Yeah, but
need Yamamoto as the second ace to our team.
yeah, second ace, he'd probably be your best pitcher. I think he's better than Senga. Um, but no, like you said, we don't need him, but we're the Yankees, so naturally I want him, and I want the Mets to not get him. You have hopefully when healthy, if you get him, a rotation of Garrett Cole, Yamamoto, Rodon, Nestor, Mike King, I assume, or one of Nestor or King if Juan Soto becomes a Yankee, one of them gets shipped out, and then you get Frankie Montas. Like whether that's the case, I would be fine with that totally. Yamamoto, I do think is a lot more important than you think in the Yankees' eyes because the Yankees are just made of glass, and the pitchers, for the past however many seasons, we've always had at least one minor leaguer be in our rotation by the end of the year. This year we've had plenty of them, so Yamamoto would be great. He's young, 25 years old, and he could really open the Japanese market for the Yankees. But the only problem is how Steinbrenner is he gonna open his wallet, and that's what it all
I
comes
don't
down
think he
to.
will. I don't
I
think
don't
he
think he
will.
will either. I don't
I don't
think he'll
think he
do
will.
anything this offseason.
Um, dude, just Yamamoto will not be a Yankee. You guys are gonna go for a third string type pitcher because that's what you actually need. You don't need an ace. You have question marks in your rotation, and don't look at me like you don't because you have question marks.
Who are the
Nestor
question marks?
Cortez is a question
No,
mark. He had
no,
one
he's
good
not.
year. One good year.
2 good
You
years.
have Carlos Rodon, who showed us he's absolute trash
He was hurt
last
last
year.
year. He was hurt last year.
You could give him some leeway there, but he was dog water. He was
Okay.
really, really bad for the team
Okay.
last year.
Yeah. Hmm.
So he's got a lot to prove, and I don't think he's a
Yeah.
New York pitcher. I don't think he pitches for the Yankees. I don't think he'll ever
Okay.
pitch good for the Yankees.
Do you want to talk about my favorite New York pitcher, Max Scherzer? That's a New York pitcher, if you ask me. Personally, I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there.
Personally,
I,
personally, personally, I don't think he was worth a top prospect. Only pitched 2.2 innings in a World Series game. That's personally. If you want
I
to go
mean, at
there,
the end of the day, they won the World Series, so it doesn't really matter.
but he did nothing to contribute. Neither did DeGrom. So I don't want to get too into it because there is more Yankee stuff coming down the road. Um,
Yeah.
but speaking of big news and big signings, Lance Lynn Kyle Gibson, and Sonny Gray are all signed to the St. Louis Cardinals. Big deals,
My
big deals.
yeah, my honest reaction.
Dude, you would think, right, that this is bolstering their pitching rotation. You know, they have Mike Mikolas, they have Steven Matz. Those two pitchers have been not very good for them for the past couple seasons. Um, and then you add Lance Lynn on a 1 year contract for 10 mil, and you add Kyle Gibson for a 1 year contract for 12 mil. And then they go out and they finalize today a deal with Sonny Gray for 75 mil for 3 years. I I don't see this helping them in any other way because they have a lot of question marks as well. They don't their lineup needs a lot of help, right? They have Nolan, they have Paul Goldschmidt, they have Brendan Donovan who's okay. He's good. They have a few people in that lineup. They really need to focus on that lineup too, and as well as their bullpen. And signing guys who are as old as Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson. Granted, Sonny Gray had a great year last year and has been a really good pitcher in the league. Can he keep it up for 3 years? I don't know. I have no idea, but we're gonna have to wait and see. You got anything to add on onto that?
So Sonny Gray said this is where he wanted to be all along. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if anyone willingly wants to go to the Cardinals out of all teams. But the average age of 35 is a little concerning. I will give some credit to Steven Matz, former Met, but he, he had a pretty good end of year last year up until he got hurt and was kind of done for the year. He was honestly somewhat solid. I still wouldn't really rely on him in big games. Um, Cal Gibson, Lance Lynn, it's just kind of depth guys at the end of the rotation. Maybe Lynn's what, your number three, Gibson's your five or whatever. It's whatever. Sonny Gray, I definitely think they need pitching. I don't know if I agree with 25 million a year for Sonny Gray, for the next 3 years, especially. I don't know if
That's
I
a little
agree with
crazy,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they should have. Obviously, they couldn't have gotten Nola, which we will get into. Feel like they maybe should have pushed a little harder for Blake Snell. Maybe that's still in the cards. I saw a report that they're still going for pitching, so we'll see. But yeah, I don't I don't like the Sonny Gray contract.
I don't like it either. I don't like it either. I don't think he's shown enough, really. I mean, to tell you honest truth, he did pitch really well for the Twins last year, granted, but we're gonna have to wait and see on that. See how it goes for the Cardinals and how they do for the rest of the offseason. But you brought up Nola, so we're gonna have to touch on Nola. Um, these Phillies, man, these Phillies.
Yeah.
Nola returns to the Phillies, which nobody thought he was going to return. You even said that Blake Snell was going to be a Philly and not Nola in the last podcast. That didn't happen. That was turned down shortly after. He decides to take less money to stay with his team. Deal was worth $172 million for 7 years. Now, I heard some Yankees talk with him, and I believe that the contract was worth more than what he took in Philly. So, I mean, adding on to that, dude, like this is if you're an MLB pitcher, right? This is the textbook of loyalty right now with Aaron Nola. If Because most people in the league are after money. Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Most people are after money. And
Hmm.
him turning down more money to stay with his team because he believes that they're going to win a ring in the next couple of years. You know, uh, I don't know. I don't know, man. Takes a lot of
Yeah.
courage.
Hmm. I I don't know what specific teams offered him a lot. Apparently, like you said, the Yankees were. very much in the mix for him. And I think it was rumored they offered a ballpark close to 200 million, which is kind of crazy to me that if the Yankees reportedly are willing to go after a guy like Aaron Nola, do they shy away from a guy like Yamamoto? If they do get a pitcher this offseason, I think it's Yamamoto or Frankie Montes. I don't think they get anyone else. So for them to be out of nowhere interested in Aaron Nola is it was very weird, but it was kind of cool to see.
Shocking. It was actually shocking
Yeah.
to even hear their name in the mix.
Hmm.
But I guess we're on that NL East train right now. The Braves, holy Christ, the
Best team in
Braves.
the NL East, the Atlanta Braves.
So I guess we're just giving up now. I guess that's what the Braves are doing. We're just giving up on young guys, on young talent. We're just throwing them to the wolves for nothing, for pretty much nothing.
Aaron Bummer's kind of good.
Aaron Bummer is the epitome of crap. I mean, you can't get any lower. You can't. You can't get any lower. You're telling me that you're gonna go out and you're gonna trade guys like Soroka, who just came back, and you know how he can pitch when he's at full health. Jared Schuster, who pitched pretty good in the first half last year and then started to fall off. You're gonna give him also. I mean, these guys don't matter as much, but you're gonna just throw in Nicky Lopez and you're throwing Braden Shoemake and a minor leaguer Riley Gowans for one Aaron Bummer. You're gonna throw all that at the White Sox for one Aaron Bummer.
Mm-hmm. Uh, I think it was just more so along the lines of they wanted to just clear roster spots. Um, I do have faith in the Braves. You know, they are the best team in the NL East for a reason. They have been and always will be. So I have faith in their front office that there's definitely some plans behind this. They were rumored to be big on Sonny Gray, but that's not an option anymore. Now the rumor seems that they're shifting to Dylan Cease, and they just did a deal with the White Sox. So quite possibly they could just reroute and try and get Dylan Cease. The only problem is their farm system's not the best. So they might have to dig into a little bit of their MLB ready talent. So, but yeah, it was a little head scratching at first seeing all these moves being made, but just trying to clear some roster spots. And I think the Braves will be big players for big free agents.
Okay, there's a difference between clearing roster spots and just straight up giving up on young talent. You're giving up on Soroka, you're giving up on Schuster. Okay, then and this all happened in the same day too. You trade you trade Nick Anderson to the Royals. Also, you trade him, he's gone. You trade Kyle Wright, he's gone to the Royals for who? Who is Jackson Cower? Can you tell me that? Can you honestly tell me who is Jackson Cower?
I can't, but Google can.
Google can. Jackson Cower for Kyle Wright to the Royals. The Royals are a young team, so they're gonna look to shape Kyle Wright, and they added Nick Anderson for a pile of scraps. I mean, I don't agree at all with these Braves moves. I think they're pretty stupid. There's difference between, you know, at just clearing up roster spots and completely giving up on talent. These Braves moves are completely terrible. They're terrible. And
I
you're
don't know if
giving me
terrible
that
is the right
look.
word.
You're giving me that
I
look.
don't know.
They're terrible. These are
I,
awful moves,
I don't think they're terrible.
Matt.
I mean, look. So their rotation, they traded a lot of starters. Soroka being one of them. I think Kyle Wright being another one. I mean, right now, their rotation consists of Max Fried, Charlie Morton, Spencer Strider, Bryce Elder, and AJ Smith. Uh, Schroeder. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think I'm saying that right. That is a pretty damn good rotation, if you ask me. That is a very good rotation. AJ Smith. I'm looking at his regular season stats. I don't know much about him to be
But
quite honest with you.
how much does Morton got? How much has Morton got left on the table for him? Honestly,
Well,
how look up how old is Morton? How old is
Charlie
Morton right now?
Morton. Charlie Morton is if Google loads. Google's not loading. 40 years old. That is a number.
40 years old.
That is a number.
40 years old.
Mm.
40
Look,
years old. Strider, Strider is one pitcher, one guy, and he's not good in the postseason. I'm gonna put that out there right now. He's not good in the postseason. He hasn't been good in the postseason. You know, you, I
okay.
don't see a
I
lot of promise in this
I
rotation. I don't.
I, I do want to say, the Braves' top seven prospects are all pitchers. So I think that is literally their one through seven is pitchers, and AJ Smith actually happens to be their number one prospect. So I just think that is the Braves' way of saying, look, yes, these young guys we traded away, they're good, they have some potential, but literally our entire farm system is pitchers. And keep in mind, they were very much in on Sonny Gray, who's no longer an option anymore. Who will they pivot to?
They're still
I have
looking
no
for.
clue.
I heard things about maybe I don't know maybe a potential Dylan Cease
Yeah,
trade.
exactly. So if they go for Dylan Cease, that fills that hole in that rotation. If you want to say it's left by AJ Smith, if you don't trust him, or if Charlie Morton truly has nothing else in the tank, I still think that they'll be a very competitive team, and I think they'll have one of the best rotations in all of baseball,
Well, that's the
regardless
thing
of who
about
it
the
is.
Braves. That's the thing about the Braves. Regardless of the rotation, regardless of anything like that, they're going to compete because of their lineup every
Yes,
year. They locked
yes,
down their guys. They did it smartly. They locked down Austin Riley. They locked down Michael Harris. They locked down. They got Olson on pretty much like a steal deal.
yes.
I just they did it the right way, and they have guys. Sean Murphy's another one. So their roster is going to keep them in the playoff contention alone. But past couple of years, we thought I thought going into this 2023 postseason that they're gonna wipe the floor. They're going to be a serious World Series contender this year. That's what you thought the year prior, but the Phillies did the exact same thing with the Braves this year that they did last year. The Braves have not been a postseason year, especially in a postseason team. Sorry, postseason team in the last 2 years, maybe more than that. I have not seen anything good for them. How could you be this good and to get knocked out 2 years in a row in the first round? How could you be this good? How could you be on this mountain if you're getting knocked out in 2 years in a row to the same team? So what? The Phillies added Trey Turner. Okay, Trey Turner is a great talent. Don't I know Trey Turner's a great talent, but so what? You've seen this team. You know what this team does. You know how they play. You've watched them and you've played against them for 2 years back to back with pretty much the same roster. How do you lose if you're on this mountaintop 2 years in a row? How do you lose?
People think it's the format, maybe, or both years they've lost. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do they not lose to the Phillies both years?
They did. I just said that. They lost
Phillies.
both years to the Phillies.
Look, I think if it was an out of division team, would be concerning. But these are two teams that are very familiar with one another. Um, and I just think it's nothing more than that. It could be because of the format, because the Braves get some time off and they're not like locked in. But the Phillies have a very good team,
But 2 years in a
and
row,
it's
two years in a
possible.
row, you're not locked in. 2 years in a row. And you had a fully healthy Ozzy Albies this year. And you know what? You know what? To go on top of the Trey Turner thing, the Braves added? They also added Sean Murphy. You know how many people on that team had like 30 plus home runs? How can you lose 2 years in a row when you seemingly got better? Ronald Acuna, fully healthy all year. Ozzy Albies, fully healthy all year. Added Sean Murphy. How could you lose? to a team back to back years. I don't understand it. I won't understand it. I won't understand it.
Sean Murphy don't play every day though. Don't they switch between him and Darno, Mets legend Travis Darno?
Hate that you say that. Yeah, they do. They do. But Sean Murphy was, I mean, just when you think the Braves can't get any better, they added him. They got better. They had their guys back that weren't so healthy last year in 2022. And then they'd go out and do the same thing. I don't want to keep harping on this, but this is just it's just mind-boggling to me how you continuously go out and you lose back-to-back years. I don't care if it's a division rival. I don't care if they played against this team multiple times, many times throughout the year. You cannot this year, if correct, tell me if you think I'm wrong. This year was the year that they were supposed to get revenge on the Phillies. Am I wrong or right? Am I wrong or right?
I think this is the year, not just that. I think this is just the year they were supposed to win it all.
100%. I 100% agree with that.
I'm not saying it's not a disappointment. I'm not trying to defend the Braves. I definitely think it was a disappointing and um, being built for everything, having these monstrous seasons from Acuna and Olsen for them to just both disappear in the postseason. Definitely sketchy. But everything was on the Braves this year and they failed colossally.
They did. They did.
Mm.
All right, all right. I'm gonna move on from this because I could talk about the Braves all day. I could re I could really talk about the Braves all day. But we're gonna head into a different area, a different realm. You know, we mentioned the Yankees earlier. We're gonna mention them again. They're still remaining interested on Jordan Montgomery.
Yes.
I don't I don't think you're getting him. I don't. I don't. I
I
really, really don't. Some of
I'm gonna
these
go.
things,
Yeah.
some of these things that you guys think you're gonna get, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna
No,
happen.
I agree with you. I'm gonna go on a little rant for a second.
Go ahead. Go
Jordan
ahead. Go ahead.
Montgomery. Jordan Montgomery was the definition of an every 5 days guy. He was a guy you could rely on to just take them out every 5 days and just shove. Not he wasn't like an ace for us, but we traded him for what we deemed was a need for Harrison Bader, who was just DFA'd for nothing at this past trade deadline or
Don't
this
agree with
past
that either.
season.
Yep.
He had a 3.17 ERA with the Cardinals and Texas Rangers. And he's estimated to get around a 5 year, $105 million contract, which is roughly 21 million a year. I don't know what these. I think he's like 30. So it pitches. You would have him under contract till he's 35. I think it's a fair contract for Jordan Montgomery. Um, I don't think the Yankees should go for him. Um, Only because it wouldn't make sense to tie him down or have the team be tied down to a big contract like that when it's not a thing of a need, right? The same thing applies for Yamamoto, but I'm not going to get into that. Um, Pitching is. I do think they need another starter. I don't think it's the need. So to spend 20 million on a Montgomery when they could go out and get like a Bellinger or someone like that, I feel like is more important. Also, Matt Blake, the pitching coach for the Yankees, I'm pretty sure he's very heavy on sinkers. Um, Monty basically was not allowed to pitch the way he wanted to in New York, and that's why he found a lot of success in St. Louis because he finally got to start pitching the way he wanted to, and then same thing carried over to Texas because it was the same pitching coach. Um, so I just don't think Monty would succeed in New York again, and I don't want him to come back only because I want him to stick it to Cashman and be like, "Hey, look what you passed up on." The same guy that said he was not a playoff pitcher, and that is true. And now Monty can boast about having a World Series win.
He can.
That's my
He
take.
can. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna go off the rails for now. I'm gonna go off the rails. Do I think that he's gonna re-sign with Texas? Yes. I 100% believe that he's going to re-sign with Texas. But in light of news that we've gotten a couple months prior, not a couple months prior, but like a couple weeks ago about David Peterson. Now I'm gonna go down this road because David Peterson, right? Right now we don't have a rotation. Right now the Mets don't have a rotation.
Yep.
I'm gonna go down this road because David Peterson's out for the year. The only lefty we have in the rotation currently
I'm gonna
is Jose
stop you right
Quintana.
there. I'm gonna stop you
Go
right
ahead.
there.
No, no, no. I want to hear it. Go ahead. Go ahead. What do you
If
have to say? Come on.
you are not getting Jordan Montgomery,
I think it makes sense. I think he's a
my mates.
guy that makes sense for the Mets. I think he makes, in some respects, the most sense for the Mets. I think if you pair him, right, if you pair him and Yamamoto up with Senga, with Quintana, that is a prominent rotation. I think that the Mets have been looking for a guy like Jordan Montgomery. You can't tell me that there's going to be no shot that the Mets are not going to look into Jordan Montgomery this offseason. Don't even do that. Don't even do that because the Mets need a left-handed pitcher. He is a left-handed pitcher. He proved himself the year before, right? He proved himself. He stuck it to the Yankees. He stuck it to them because when you gave up on him, when you guys gave up on him, and you said, "Oh, he's not a playoff pitcher," like you mentioned, he's not a playoff pitcher. He is. He proved it. He was a demon for Texas, especially in the playoffs. A demon all year round. It makes sense for the Mets, and the Mets rotation will be better with him in it. We need a lefty. And I don't know what you're doing right now, but nothing's going to change the fact that the
I was looking
Mets
up stats.
need a lefty. Nothing's going to change the fact that Montgomery makes sense for the Mets.
Okay,
Nothing's going to change that
so
fact
why Montgomery and not Blake Snell? Just out of curiosity.
because I believe the Mets are going to get Yamamoto. So, in light of me saying that, in light of me saying that, they're going to spend the most money on him, and they're going to want a guy that's going to be the number three. That guy is Jordan
Is
Montgomery.
is $21 million for a number three ideal?
Is it ideal? No, I don't. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think we're gonna sign him for that 5 year contract. I think if we do sign him, it's gonna be a short term contract. It's gonna be a short term contract, and it may be even maybe a little more than 21 a year. Maybe a little more than 21 a year. I think it's gonna be short term deal. I think it's gonna be a 2 to 3 year contract, and I think it's gonna be a little more than 21 mil a year.
I don't respectfully think you're getting Montgomery. But anything's possible with Stevie Cohen. You can
Anything is
swap
possible.
swap a
Anything is
jersey on any
possible.
player. Yep.
I mean, we're talking about starting pitchers right now. I mean, we're gonna have to talk about Glass now, right? We're gonna have to because they're looking to trade him. There's a 70% chance he gets traded per John Heyman. And guess who's in the mix again?
Chicago Cubs.
No. Guess who's in the mix again? The Mets. I don't
Chicago
know
Cubs.
the Mets.
The
I don't
Chicago
know
Cubs.
who they would give up. I don't know what kind of trade package the Rays look like. I don't know their farm system, but for me as a Mets fan personally, I think there's better guys in the market. I don't want Glasnow. And I
I
could
actually think.
go
Sorry, I
ahead.
was saying. I
No, no,
think
go ahead.
Glasnow. I think Glasnow is a perfect fit for the Mets. An injury-prone pitcher.
Oh my God. You're ridiculous. An
It fit.
injury prone pitcher. I don't
It
want that.
fits.
I dealt with that. The Mets dealt with that.
Yes.
They dealt with that. It's over with. We shouldn't be in this position anymore where we have to deal with injury prone people. I don't want that. I don't want that. That's why I'm saying there's other guys on the market. And you know what? I'm gonna bring this up, and it's not even on our list. It's not even on our list, but I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna bring it up. I think another trade target, if some things don't go, say we don't miss out on Jordan Montgomery, right? Say we miss out and we get Yamamoto. I think a third string pitcher we should try to go out and trade for is Mitch Keller. We've been tied to him in the past. We're tied to him again in the 2023 offseason. I think that we should trade for a young guy because that's where the movement's going right now, especially with Gilbert and Acuna in the farm system. I think that's where it's going. I think we should go out and we should get Mitch Keller and try to do whatever it takes to get him in a blue and orange jersey in 2024. Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that
But
because Mitch Keller would fit perfectly with the Mets.
I have a question then. I have a question then. So you said
Shoot.
he would be perfect fit. It kind of goes with the deal of trying to go young and all that. So then, what's the thing with Mitch Keller's a righty? Am I wrong or wrong?
Mhm.
No, I'm right. He's a
You're
righty.
right.
So
You're right.
then, what's the whole thing with Monty? Him being a lefty. You saying that's the biggest area they need, and also he's 30 years old.
Well,
So
first off, first off,
which
first
one
off,
is it? Which one is it?
first off. I never said that was the biggest area they needed,
I
right?
think
I
you did.
never once said that. I said that they could use Monty because he fits perfectly in there because well, for starters, they both fit perfectly in the Mets rotation. They do. But Monty, you know what? Screw it. I hope they add both. I want them to add both. I want them to have one of the best rotations
So
in all of
it's
baseball.
a
You
comedy hour now, huh?
No, it's not a comedy hour. Can you imagine the lineup? Can you imagine the rotation? Yamamoto,
I
Sega, Montgomery, Mitch Keller, Quintana. That's a pitcher rotation. That's a pitching rotation to me.
That's a
That-
rotation that wins you 82 games. Yeah, you're right.
That's a
That's a
pitching
rotation.
rotation.
That's still an upgrade from this past season. So I guess hey, it works out in the end, right?
Yeah, yeah, it works out in the end. This is why I can't deal with the fact that there's people out there that I don't I don't care what happened last year. I don't care if people are saying, "Oh, your owner said that you guys are not going to be competitive till 2025 or 2026." I don't care about that. I don't care about the statement. I don't. I really don't care about that statement
I forgot about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
because and this is the sole factor why I don't care about this statement because you're going to sit there, you especially Yankee fans, you guys are going to sit there and you're going to tell me that Steve Cohen is just going to kick his feet up and call it a day and not do anything in the offseason. Don't do 27 because it doesn't matter. You guys haven't won a ring since 2009.
Okay, so then when
2009.
was the last time you won a ring?
I don't want to talk about it. 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 We gotta continue on. We gotta continue on. So more. I'm surprised we're even getting this much baseball news right now. I really am.
Can I introduce this next one because this is my favorite one on the list?
Go ahead.
Kenta Maeda is officially a Detroit Tiger.
Woohoo! That
You know,
that that helps no one. That did nothing for the Tigers. I don't know why. And how many years did you sign with the Tigers? Two?
it was 24 million for I will look it up. I believe it is two.
I think it's 2 years. I think it's 2 years. I personally think that's too much. Honestly, I don't even think he deserves 24 mil. I don't think he deserves 12 million
Uh,
a year. I don't. At max, I think he deserves 10. Talk about
okay, yeah.
talk
Sorry.
about a worthless. I don't know. I don't want to curse. A worthless move. A worthless move. It does nothing. It does nothing. It does nothing. It does nothing for the Tigers.
Well, he's 35 years old. It's a 2-year contract. he is a primary splitter pitcher, which is becoming, splitter, sweeper, all those pitches have been becoming very popular in the league. So honestly, I don't think the Tigers are going to be competitive the next 2 years. I don't know if he has an option or not. It is very likely that the Tigers are just kind of signing him, to be their ace or whatever, or behind Tariq Skubal or whoever else they have in their rotation. And it's quite possible that, hopefully his value is just high enough to the point where they can maybe flip him at a deadline, whether it's this deadline or next season's deadline. And that's what I think about it. Other than that, you can never go wrong with a splitter pitcher. 4.2 ERA, 104 innings pitched.
But that
You know,
team has so many issues, so many issues. They got some bright spots. They got some bright spots,
yeah,
especially a bright spot in Riley Green. That's a bright spot. But you got a contract like Javi Baez.
next legend. Yep, absolutely.
But he was good on the Mets. He was good on the Mets, even though he booed the fans. He was good on the Mets. He was good on that short time. He was good that year. I don't know what happened to him, but Javi Baez is not Javi Baez anymore. I don't know. I don't know what we're looking at anymore in baseball. He's he's not Javi Baez. He's not Javi Baez anymore. He's taking on a new form. He's taking on a new form. That move does nothing for the
Yeah,
Tigers.
I'm willing to give Javi one more year before I totally write him off. I will. One more
Some may
year.
say that's too generous.
One more year.
Some may say that's too generous.
I like to think I'm a generous guy.
Oh, really? All right, all right, all right. Another thing. Another thing. The Baseball United League. The Baseball United League. I was, I have to say, I was so happy to see Bartolo Colon.
Mets legend.
Yep. That's a real Mets legend. I was so happy to see Bartolo.
It's kind of sad, by the way. Just putting that
How is
out
it
there.
sad? How is that sad? He was great. He was great. They went to the World Series with him. Don't say it.
What year was that? 2015?
2015. 2015.
Did they?
Don't say that. Don't say that. But I was overjoyed to see Cologne tossing in 81 mile an hour fastballs at 50 years old. Your arm would be falling off at 50 years old.
I don't even have an arm to begin with. So props to him.
50 years old, tossing in 81 mile an hour fastballs. Cano was there too. Cano was there.
Mets legend.
Oh, Yankees legend. Yankees
Yeah,
legend.
sure. Yeah. I like to
Sure,
forget about that. Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Forget?
Yeah.
Why do you want to forget about one of the
Because
best second basemen for the
he
Yankees
didn't
in total?
he didn't is he the best second baseman for the Yankees?
He might damn well be
I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't know enough about the olden days to know if that's
the
true or
olden
not.
days. The
I
olden
don't
days.
know. A little salty. He didn't come back to the Yankees, but it is what it is. Um,
I mean, there's not much to say about the Baseball United League. I mean, it was just really heartwarming to see guys like him and Bartolo and just going out there and having fun. People down there just having a good time watching the game of baseball. Um, and I know we weren't going to talk about it. I
oh,
know we weren't going to talk about it, but we have not mentioned any basketball news. We haven't mentioned any basketball news in both episodes. And
yeah,
something big happened during this course of this past week.
yes,
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. I don't even want to say it. I don't even want it. The fact that we're wrapping up with this is kind of crazy. But here at last, here we are.
well, I'll,
Here we
I'll
are.
say without saying what actually happened, without saying the player's name, terrible. Um, why is my first thought. And why haven't they been suspended already? That's it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah,
I don't want to speak
you're not
further.
gonna say the name because you're too nice. But Josh Giddey, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why can't we play basketball anymore? Can you answer me that? Why can't we play basketball? What are we doing? I mean,
Yeah,
you know, the Thunder are supposed to be one of the best young teams in the NBA. Why are we doing this? Between him and Ja, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's bad for the game. It's really bad for the game. I don't understand why we have to go out and and everything gets around nowadays. Everything. You're not safe from anything. One screw up and your career is over. Do you think his career is over? Because
I don't think it's over because if a guy like John Morant can come back, if a guy like Miles Bridges can come back, I, the fact that he played literally like last night shows that maybe the NBA is not
I
taking
mean,
it
they
as
don't
serious
care.
as they need to.
They
But yeah,
don't care. And it's not a good look for the league. It hasn't been a good look for the league. And I don't understand why we can't just play basketball anymore. Why can't we just go out and look to forwards toward an NBA championship? There's so many sides. Just play basketball. It's not like the Jordan days. It's not like when LeBron first came in the league. It's not even like when it was like in 2015. It's not basketball anymore. And you know what? It's going to drive people out of the game because this has to stop. This has to stop. I don't want to hear any more. Oh, Ja pulled out a gun and we're taking him out of the league. Ja's one of the most exciting players in the league, and he got suspended, or I think he got suspended the first time. I'm pretty sure he
yeah,
got suspended the first time, and then what does he do? A couple months later, does the same thing, pulls out a gun on IG Live. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
stupid. That's why we're doing it.
It's stupid. It's more than stupid. And I don't even want to mention everybody knows what Josh Giddey did, but I'm not even gonna mention that on this podcast because my God, I mean, no right from wrong. And way to throw like a straight up monkey wrench into the name of the Thunder right now. Way to throw it right in there.
Yeah, one of the
It's
most promising young cores, and now it's in jeopardy. You know,
because
but
of one person, one player's stupid actions. One player's
yeah.
stupid actions.
Hmm.
I think that's all that really needs to be said on that matter. Um More basketball stuff will come down the line. It's just baseball has been really hot right now with the signings, with the rumors. You're going to hear more about baseball in the next coming weeks. We're going to have some guests soon too. We're going to have some guests soon
We
on the
will.
pod. But I think we're gonna end it there.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Do you know ball? Do you know ball?
Do you know ball?
All right, we will catch you next week. Week 3, episode 3. We gonna log out.